most trustless name in news.
Yes, sirree, Bob. Bitcoin has been on a tear lately. The breakthrough 30K resistance is complete and the next stop is 40K. The markets and investors are starting to realize what many of us already know. Bitcoin is the scarcest and most valuable asset this world has ever seen. But how much Bitcoin do you need to make it in these markets? How much Bitcoin do you need to be in the world's top 1%? We'll find out in about 10 minutes. Because it's time for Chico Crypto. Bitcoin, the most scarce and valuable asset in the world? Well, for those who don't know, Bitcoin is an asset with a truly limited supply of 21 million coins. The inflation of Bitcoin is shrinking every 4 years due to the halving, reducing the emissions of BTC by cutting those emissions in half. Due to this inflation schedule, the last of the Bitcoin of the 21 million will be mined around the year 2140. After this, no new Bitcoins can ever come into existence. Now, some people will say gold is the most valuable and scarce asset of this world, which is partly true right now. Gold as a whole is more valuable than Bitcoin. The global Bitcoin market cap is under 700 billion today, and at max during the 2021 bull run peaked above 1.25 trillion. Gold, on the other hand, is worth over 13.15 trillion. But gold isn't the most scarce. The asset keeps being found in different places on this earth. Last year, an estimated $13 trillion worth of more gold was found in Uganda. Once this is extracted and injected into the market, the gold price per ounce just might fall due to the supply increasing and demand falling due to other assets providing better benefits than gold, a la Bitcoin. The future of gold is actually looking bleak. This year, NASA announced they were planning a trip to study and eventually mine an asteroid worth 10,000 quadrillion of gold deposits. This mission, named Psyche, was to take place earlier this month, and guess what? NASA launched the exploration rocket October 13th, and the mission is on its way. Gold isn't as scarce as people once thought. It's not only abundant on Earth, it's abundant across the universe. Bitcoin is the opposite. The abundancy is known, and it's actually less abundant than most people think. Unlike gold, which can be lost and then found, much of the Bitcoin that is lost forever. And the creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, has said the importance of this back in 2010. Satoshi said, "Lost coins only make everyone else's coins worth slightly more. Think of it as a donation to everyone. Lost coins reduce the supply, and the more demand there is, and the less the supply, it equals a higher price." So how many coins have been lost forever? Well, Kane Digital Research has studied this, and they have a very exciting headline for their research. There will never be more than 14 million Bitcoins. And in the article, they say, we can estimate that since 2010, about 4% of the available supply of Bitcoin has been lost each year. This puts the current available supply at about 13.9 million coins, well below the 18.3 million total supply figure. This means that about 28% of all Bitcoins have been irretrievably lost. This figure is consistent with research conducted by Ratliff in 2014 and Chainalysis in 2017. There are actually less than 14 million Bitcoin out there due to coins being lost, and there will never be more than 14 million coins, even after the last coin is mined in 2140. So the next big question is, how much Bitcoin do you need to own to secure a lifetime of wealth? How do you join the world's richest in terms of BTC? Well, in 2020, Decrypt put out an article titled, "How much Bitcoin does it take to break into the 1% club?" The article stated, In February 2020, Jack Levinson, then an analyst for Blockworks Group, tweeted that if you own 0.28 BTC, you're statistically guaranteed to be in the richest 1% of the world in BTC terms. So how did Jack come to this figure? Well, going to his 2020 tweet, we can see just that. Jack took 7.5 billion people, the world's population at the time, multiplied by 1%. This equaled 75 million. And then he divided that 1% figure by 21 million and came to the 0.28 BTC. Well, my friends, this figure needs a 2023 update. The world's population has grown since 2020, and Jack didn't take into account the lost coins. Checking out the current world population, it's now above 8 billion people, 8.068. So 8.068 billion multiplied by 1% equals 80,680,000. Taking the estimated coins right now, about 14 million, and dividing it by that figure, we come to the conclusion that holding just 0.17 BTC puts you statistically into the top 1% richest in BTC terms. Bitcoin as of yesterday was sitting at about 35,000. 0.17 of this is a small investment of about $6,000. This figure is still achievable. For just $6K, you can secure a spot as the top 1% richest in BTC. Many will say, but this is only if the entire world adopts Bitcoin. Well, if you didn't know, Bitcoin is on the path to global adoption. Checking out this global adoption estimator from AAA, they estimate there are over 420 million cryptocurrency adopters worldwide, which is about 4.2% of the global population. Some may say that's not much. But when you see the growth of adoption from just 1 year ago, you clearly see global adoption is happening. Using Wayback Machine and looking at the same estimator from just last year, we can see they estimated 320 million global crypto users. In just a year, 100 million more people adopted Bitcoin and crypto. This rate will at least continue, but it's likely to ramp up even further, almost guaranteed. By 2040, I would predict Bitcoin to break into the global adoption level, used by the majority of the world. So right now is the time to accumulate BTC and become part of the world's elite. If the bull run is truly back, you'll never be able to get these prices ever again based on the history of Bitcoin. Bitcoin never falls far below the previous cycle's all-time high. In 2014, the peak was around $1,200. In the 2018 bear market, Bitcoin fell down to a low of $3K. The 2017 peak was about $20,000. The 2022 low was around $15,000. The last peak in 2021 was about $69,000. Based on history, Bitcoin won't fall far below that in the next bear cycle. Again, if this bull cycle is really about to take off, these prices won't be seen ever again. Especially when you take into account the institutions are coming. There is major talk about an ETF soon, and this just may be the case and the reason for the recent price movement. On the DTCC, the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation's website, they have the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF and ticker listed. Like they are getting ready for it to go live. And then just yesterday, they also listed Cathie Wood's ARK Investment Bitcoin ETF on the website. These are spot Bitcoin ETFs, and they need real Bitcoin for the trading within them. Once the dust settles and the institutional buying spree of Bitcoin calms down, it's not only going to be out of reach to own one Bitcoin, getting that 0.17 of a BTC may be out of reach for most people. So, as Smash Mouth would say, don't delay, act now, supplies are running out. Cheers, viewers. I'll see you next time.
The most trustless name in news.